Today, it's the Island Championship, the PSAL title. These two teams, both undefeated. The Port Richmond Red Raiders have a Staten Island record of 2-0, 5-2 overall. They come off a 30-6 win over East Lyme last week. There was 2 touchdown passes for the number 2 quarterback on Staten Island, Steve Mirasola. 2 touchdowns, 140 yards running for the number 4 rusher on Staten Island, Andy Pearlstein. And Brian Del Giorno on the other end of those Mirasola touchdown passes had 2 touchdown receptions. And those are the key players to watch for Port Richmond. Now, according to Coach Joe George of Port Richmond, the key for Port Richmond today is to have ball control and not make mistakes. The Susan Wagner Falcons, also undefeated on Staten Island, have a record of 3-0, 7-0 overall. They have not lost on the field in 2 years. They have won 15 straight. They come off a 34-14 win versus Curtis last week. Number 1 quarterback Mike Taranto had 4 touchdowns. 86-yard touchdown run for the number 1 rusher on Staten Island, Glenn Pedro. And Frank Menachino, 2 touchdown receptions in last week's game. He leads the Falcons in that department with 6. Now, both teams have a high offensive explosion with a power running game and a power passing game. The edge in the running game will go to Susan Wagner with the number 1 rusher in Glenn Pedro. So this has all the effects of being a high-scoring affair, and it's going to decide the PSAL championship here on Staten Island when we return to Falcon Field. You're watching the Staten Island High School Football Game of the Week on Staten Island Cable.
Live from Caesars Palace, Coors Extra Gold Draft presents Sugar Ray Leonard. One of the most exciting boxers of our time returns to the ring to face Donnie Golden Boy Lamont, the WBC light heavyweight champion. Live Monday, November 7th. Can Leonard, 3-time world champion, make history one more time? Or will Lalonde be able to stop Sugar Ray? Leonard versus Lalonde, November 7th. Viewer's Choice is your ringside seat for all the exciting live action.
Cable America, TV Guide's the only television magazine that has all the information you need in one convenient source. Just look at the listings for cable, local, network, and pay TV. Check out TV Guide's articles, profiles, and commentaries. Move in on movies and scout out the handy sports calendar. Now, breeze through the Newsy Insider and you've got it all for just $2.40 added to your monthly cable bill. Call the number on your screen to get TV Guide home delivered. Call now.
The Staten Island High School Football Game of the Week. Today, it's the Port Richmond Red Raiders versus the Susan Wagner Falcons for the PSAL Championship. Hi again, everyone. John Tassiello along with the Susan Wagner Athletic Director, Fred Hess. And Fred, this should be a tremendous game today. It's going to decide, number 1, how do you see today's ball game?
Oh, I think we can expect the usual Port Richmond Wagner High School tough football game. Not only is it for the Island Championship, but just the natural rivalry between the two schools. We're looking for a well-played, hard-fought ball game, and let's go with the best.
See our broadcast location right atop the building of Susan Wagner High School, a brick wall. All we need is the ivy, and we'll be like broadcasting from Wrigley Field. These two teams, I get word from a lot of the Port Richmond players and the officials, Fred, that they hate each other.
Well, it's always been an intense rivalry. We're neighborhood schools. They know each other. They see each other in the neighborhood. I don't think it's a question of hating. I think it's just a question of just getting ready to play a good, hard football game.
And that's one of the reasons why Coach Al Paterzo of Susan Wagner mentioned that even though PSAL championship, as far as the city is concerned, seems more important, he feels that the teams is more motivated for this and feels more important to them because they see the teams on Staten Island all the time, rather than the city teams, which they'll see just once.
They always are. They're always well motivated for an Island championship. The city comes later. They want to win the neighborhood crown first, then they worry about something else.
The series record between these two teams in the last 5 years, Susan Wagner has won the last 5 in a row. They have a 5-1 record in those last 6 meetings.
That's right.
Last meeting, a 22-6 win last year for Susan Wagner. Port Richmond did not win that last game against this team, Susan Wagner, since 1984. Ready for the kickoff as players are on the field. Susan Wagner will receive the kick from Pete Rosamundo. And we're underway, a spiral kick. That kick taken, and Frank Menachino watches it roll into the end zone. It'll be a touchback, and the Susan Wagner Falcons will operate first down and 10 at their own 20-yard line. Just underway from Falcon Field here at Susan Wagner High School. This game more important, Fred, for Port Richmond to win because they really, if they win this game, they would probably win the championship. But losing this game probably would not be able to get the wild card.
No, this game is more important to them to get into the city playoffs.
Susan Wagner
No
wins.
doubt.
Susan
I
Wagner
think we
wins.
have a good shot whichever way we go with it, but
First down and 10.
we want to win it.
First down and 10. Mike Durano, the quarterback. Scooter Rabbit, Glenn Pedro in the backfield. They mainly line up in a pro set. In motion is Frank Menachino. And off goes to Pedro. Gets about 4 or 5 yards and brought down by a host of players. Also in there, Pete Russamondo, the kicker, who also plays defense. A lot of these players play both ways, Fred. More of the players on Port Richmond, though, play both ways.
More on Port Richmond, you're right, John.
Mentioning this game more important for the Red Raiders to win because even if Susan Wagner should lose, they will probably get in as a wild card with a 7-1 record.
I think so. I think we have a good shot at it, no matter which way the game goes.
Second down and 7, a gain of 3 by Pedro, the island's leading rusher. I'll go from the pro set. Wide receiver to the left is Scooter Rabbit, also a running back. As the handoff goes to Pedro, straight up the middle, he's driven back for a gain of about 1. It'll be third down and about 6. A couple of hundred in the stands here today, Fred. Overall, I would say a disappointing crowd, but in the start of the game, the Port Richmond side, very vociferous as opposed to the Susan Wagner side.
Well, I'm sure they'll get there. We'll get down there. There's people still coming in, so we're hoping for a good crowd. Got a beautiful day for a ball game.
Third down and 7. We'll try to get to the starting lineups as soon as we get a chance. Quarterback Mike Taranto rather. The pitch goes to number 29. And he lost the ball. As the first mistake of the game on the Susan Wagner side as they lost the pitch, and now the Falcons will be forced to punt. Take a look at the missed punt. They missed handoff. And unfortunately don't have the particular runner who that was, Fred. Number 29, not listed on our roster.
Not listed here. We'll get him.
It'll be fourth down and long, and back to punt Ken Sparry. A good hang time kick back to the 50-yard line as Brian Del Giorno falls on it. Del Giorno playing with a sore knee, missed an August Martin game earlier in the season. But Port Richmond operates in good field position at midfield. Something Coach Joe George wants to do, Fred, is have ball control. And like Curtis did last week versus Susan Wagner, keep the ball away.
Curtis gave us a very tough game last week, and because of that ball control, and Coach Joe George figures if he has the ball, Wagner can't score.
Although even when Wagner does have it, even if they only have it a few times, if they score of those few times, that plan wouldn't work. So even when they have it a few times, they have to hold them. Steve Mirasola calling signals, perhaps audibilizing at the line of scrimmage out of the I formation. Play action, and that pass incomplete.
Bounce.
And intended for Del Giorno. Offense for the Red Raiders, Steve Mirasola at quarterback, number 9. Running backs, number 31, Mario Caruso, and number 43, Andy Pearlstein. Wide receiver, Brian Del Giorno, along with number 4, Terrence Brody. Tight end, number 42, Josh Siegel. Center, number 58, Pete Rosamondo. The guards, Tom Bianco, Jim Kelly. And the tackles, Al Kushnar, and Mike Bonamo on second down and 10, right at midfield. We'll go with one lone setback. In motion is Brian Del Giorno. Here's play action as Mirasola in trouble. Tries to go the other way. He's being chased. And has a little room around the corner.
He's dangerous.
And he is a rushing quarterback. Runs around the side. And Steve Mirasola, the 6'1", 165 senior, does well to get out of that traffic. Did well, Mirasola did on the replay, as you see, had a run away from the right side and got around number 72, Chris Day. Defense for Susan Wagner has the ends in number 83, Damian Van Cleef. Number 82, Devon Simmons, the other ends. We'll get to the rest of the defense in a second. That was a first down. That play for Mirasola. And play action, Mirasola to the right side, angling for Del Giorno behind. Del Giorno. It'll be second down and 10. Susan Wagner, the tackles. Number 71, Felix Vijan and Chris Day, number 72. Linebackers, number 56, Angelo DeFlippis, number 87, Mike Devonier, number 53, Adam Wisserman, number 41, David Reale, and the defensive backs, Steve Guzzi, Gary Giannoni, and the safety, Jason Sullivan. Second down and 10, so Coach Joe George on first down so far on both of these plays has gone to the pass. Lone setback is Andy Pearlstein. Two receivers to the right, Del Giorno and Brody. Play action, Mirasola looking for his man. He has number 26, Angelo Cordova. Gets across the 35, close to the 30-yard line. Mirasola has a little time there, and he finds Cordova. To the right side, brought down by Stephen Guzzi. Cordova, 5'7", 160 senior. This is the last home game, speaking of seniors, for the Susan Wagner Falcons. This is their alumni day. Now bring out the change to measure. Our referee today is Dick Stanley.
Close to a first down.
The other officials, George Hind. Field judge is Joel Langeller, and the linesman is Bill Corbel. First down for Port Richmond. So far, the game plan is working for Port Richmond, keeping the ball away from Susan Wagner. As one mistake, which is something Port Richmond did not want to do, Fred, has been so far the story for Susan Wagner, making that one mistake on a third down pitch handoff.
That's right, on that fumble that put us in a hole.
Susan Wagner in their win last week versus Curtis had only given up 6 points the whole year, and had their 4-game shutout string broken, giving up those 14 points to Curtis. They'll go from the I formation. Caruso and Pearlstein, excuse me. As Mirasola back to pass once again. That's what they do predominantly, but this time Mirasola is sacked. Number 56, Angelo DeFlippis, the senior for the Susan Wagner Falcons. 5'8", 203, leads the team in tackles with 48. See Mirasola that time in trouble and could not get away from Angelo DeFlippis.
Second down and 20.
Second down and 20.
Wagner 39.
Ball at the Susan Wagner 39-yard line. 8:30 remaining in this first quarter, just underway from Falcon Field at Susan Wagner High School. Lone setback is Andy Pearlstein. Now he's the man in motion to the right. Mirasola with the wind at his back. A little quick dump pass. It goes to number 32, Brian Del Giorno. Gain of about 4 or 5. Del Giorno, the wide receiver, on that quick dump. Del Giorno, 5'10", 160, senior. Key guy, according to Coach Joe George, at this level for the Red Raiders. 6 receptions, 183 yards, 2 touchdowns last week. That was his career best in yards for Del Giorno against East Lyme last week. He's the co-captain for the Port Richmond Red Raiders. It'll be third down and long. In motion is Del Giorno. Lone setback is Pearlstein. 2 receivers to the left. Mirasola back to pass. Angling for the sidelines. Incomplete, intended for Del Giorno. So they'll bring up a 4th down play with 7:29 remaining in this first quarter.
Mirasola's pass is incomplete. 4th down and 15.
Fourth down and about 15 yards to go, so into punt now will be Pete Rosamendo, 5'10", 197 junior. And well, I got to watch out for Joe George now. He likes to do trick plays. I can never keep my eye off the game. I learned that in our last game versus Andrew Jackson in Port Richmond. This time Rosamendo does punt. A wobbly kick to the side and kind of shanked it. And Susan Wagner will operate first down and 10. Just at about their 30-yard line. How tough is it, Fred, for the players, especially Port Richmond now, coming into the first time playing on artificial turf, where they play mostly on the regular turf, and also this field 10 years old, it's really hard.
This field is very hard, and I think it'll take a while for Port Richmond to get used to it. And when you get hit and go down, it's like falling on concrete in some spots.
First down and 10 for the Susan Wagner Falcons. First down at their 23-yard line, call it. They'll go from the pro set. Scooter Abbott, Glenn Pedro. Handoff. And gaining 3 or 4 by number 29, again, who we do not have listed on our sheet. We have number 88 listed as Scooter Albert. We'll get it straightened out in a second. 6:50 remaining in this first quarter. They'll go from the I formation now. Receiver to the left. Now they'll back to the pro set. Second down and 7. And the handoff. Time to Glenn Pedro, a gain of about 3.
We found out number 29 is Scooter Abbott. He changed his shirt on us.
All right.
We'll have him for the rest of the day.
Scooter Abbott, number 29.
Pedro, the ball carrier. Third down and 3.
And perhaps receiver to the left is Jay Sullivan. As we have a couple of big jersey changes. Third down and 7. From the 35-yard line. No score. 6:10 remaining here in the first quarter. They'll go from the pro set. Pitch now to Glenn Pedro, trying to find an angle on the sidelines, and he's driven out of bounds immediately by number 34 of Port Richmond, Chris Camatini. Camatini, the 5'9", 183 junior right inside linebacker. So twice now, Port Richmond has stopped the Susan Wagner Falcons. Nice and warm here, Fred, at 60 degrees here in Staten Island, but the only problem, it's very windy and blustery.
Up here on the hill, it's always a few degrees cooler, John, especially in the back of the building.
Luckily, it's a warm
You have
wind.
to know how to dress up here.
It's a warm wind, luckily. Yesterday's game, the JV game, which the Susan Wagner Falcons won over Port Richmond, 26-0. It was a rainy day as the punt is short. Takes a good Susan Wagner roll. Del Giorno will watch it roll to about right in front of us at the 32-yard line of Port Richmond. I mentioned the JV team. They have won 29 straight games, and that's why the varsity team, Fred, is so good. They start at the bottom, and minor league system, so to speak, is good.
That's right. That's right. Our JV program has been excellent over the last 3 or 4 years. We have a number of the coaches, former players up here at Wagner, which says a lot for their respect for Al Paterzo and their program. They work hard at it, and they're developing players every single year.
First down and 10, the second possession for Port Richmond. No score here in the first quarter, 5:54 remaining. Andy Pearlstein, the lone setback, 2 receivers to the left. Versola back to pass on first down. He has time. Looking for Terrence Brody. He's open, and he gets it, and then he fumbles the ball, and now they rule incomplete pass. Good hit by Frank Menachino on the open man, Terrence Brody. They went with 2 receivers to the left, but they went to the pass to the right side. Brody, the 6'3", 180 senior, also plays defensive back. So, Joe George continues to pass on first down, and Fred, that's one of the things Coach Al Paterzo said is the key for his team. Stop the pass, because that sets up the running game.
That's right. That's right. Al was worried about the passing, and he has good reason to. You can see it now as he plays the pass.
Second down and 10. Handoff to Pearlstein. Up the middle on the quarterback drawer. He's got a hole across the 50. Down near the 45-yard line. A first down for the number 4 rusher on Staten Island, Andy Pearlstein. 5'8", 175 senior. He does have 2 consecutive 100-yard games. 20 rushes, 140 yards, 2 touchdowns last week. 83 rushes, 493 yards on the season. 10 touchdowns on Staten Island, that's number 1. Also a defensive back for the Port Richmond Red Raiders. A 5.9 on average per carry. First and 10, the ball on the 44-yard line. So far, time of possession favors the Port Richmond Red Raiders. That handoff goes to Pearlstein, tries to angle around the right sideline. He's tripped up by number 25, Gary Giannone, the senior, 5'8", 151 for the Falcons. 2 interceptions for Giannone on the season. Second down and 6, a gain of 4 by Pearlstein. 4:57 remaining first quarter. As both sides, I noticed, Fred, here in the stands are standing.
And it's not exactly standing room only, but that's the rivalry.
They're standing.
Everybody's up. Don't want to miss a play.
Out of the I formation. Fake hand up, and now the screen pass to number 12, Jason Gold. So Gold listed here on my sheet as the backup quarterback, 5'9", 165 junior. Clock continues to run with 4:20 left. 3rd down and 2 now for Port Richmond. The Falcons have yet to cross the midfield line, Fred, on offense.
Now Port Richmond's playing a very strong defensive quarter so far.
Port Richmond averaging 24.3 points per game. Wagner averaging 32 points per game this year. 186 points for and only 20 against so far this season for the Susan Wagner Falcons. 3rd and 2. Pearlstein, a lone setback. Play action. Under pressure is Mirasola. The pass is incomplete, intended either for Terrence Brody or Brian Del Giorno is there with the 2 receivers in the neighborhood. So it'll be 4th and 2, and I wouldn't be surprised if Coach George would go for this. Speaking of the kicking game, Fred, I am talking to Coach Al Paterzo of Susan Wagner. You will not see a field goal by his team at all in this game. He, for some reason, hates the field goal. He doesn't want the players to have a decision to make. Doesn't make them think.
He doesn't have even an extra point. He runs and passes everything. They are going to kick.
And it's Steve Mirasola doing the punting. High kick. Good hang time. And
made a
the player
mistake.
back down. The first he hesitated. He's brought down to about his 2-yard line, and that's who the player was. Number 36, I believe. Check that, 34 is Stephen Guzzi. So once again, Susan Wagner pinned deep in their own territory.
Wagner takes over the ball.
3:41 remaining. First quarter, Susan Wagner first down and 10 from their own 3. Excellent defensive job so far by the Red Raiders of Port Richmond. Go from the pro set. Scooter Rabbit and Glenn Pedro. Scooter Rabbit wearing number 29. The handoff goes to Glenn Pedro. Pulls up the middle, brought down. In about 3 perhaps. Try to continue the offense listing for Susan Wagner. They started with Toronto at quarterback number 4, Pedro and Scooter Rabbit, the running backs. Frank Medikito, number 26, and Jason Sullivan, the wide receivers. Tight end, number 84, Ken Sparry. The tackles, Felix Vigant and Anthony Curran. Center, Jason Mediate, number 59, who Coach Paterzo feels is one of the best centers in the city as well as Staten Island. I go from the pro set, 2nd down and 7. Toronto. A handoff to Glenn Pedro. Gets a good hole that time.
Pedro brings it out.
Gives the Falcons some breathing room. Credit the offensive line with opening up that hole. Take a look at Pedro right through that hole right there as he slid it through. And that'll be a first down for the Falcons. The other guard on the offensive line, the 2 guards on the offensive line for Susan Wagner, number 50, Jamie Valino, and number 52, Rich Marchetti. First down and 10. I believe that's the first down of the game for Susan Wagner.
First one so far.
From the 20-yard line, 2:39 remaining in a fast first quarter, no score. Play action as Toronto back to pass. He pitches to Glenn Pedro on a quick dump pass to the side, and Pedro is good enough, close to the first down marker. He might have it. Mike Toronto, 5'10", 155, a junior, is only a junior. He has never lost at a varsity level quarterback here for Susan Wagner. You take a look at the reception, a nice run by Glenn Pedro. Only 1 interception in the career so far of Mike Toronto. It is a first down and 10 now for the Falcons. Ball at the 31. Go from the I, Scooter Rabbit and Glenn Pedro. Sullivan to the left. And off goes to Glenn Pedro. Gets a hole. He's done. Glenn Pedro. The running play as he picked up the first score of the game. Glenn Pedro found the hole and burst through. In the neighborhood of a 70-yard touchdown run. He had an 86-yard touchdown run last
week, late in the game.
And Glenn Pedro shows his offensive ability. There he gets past 2 tackles, and he was off to the races. No man within sight as far as the Port Richmond defenders. So the Red Raiders, who were controlling the game, that has to deflate them slightly with 1:52 remaining in the first quarter. It's Glenn Pedro with the touchdown run, unofficially around 70 yards. Pedro has had 8 rushes and 126 yards last week. 89 rushes, 692 yards for the season. That's his 10th touchdown. As they'll go for the 2-point conversion. And they got it. As it's Toronto
to Medicino.
To Frank Medicino with the 2-point conversion, as we mentioned. Coach Al Paterzo does not go for the extra points, as well as the field goals. Susan Wagner leads it now 8-0. So that's something I mentioned. Port Richmond did have time of possession, Fred, but if Susan Wagner only has the ball a couple of times, that's fine. But if they score on those few times, the time of possession will not mean anything.
That's right, John. You were like a prophet. You call that one. We had the ball just a short time, and we ended up going for the score.
So with 1:52 remaining, an 8-0 Susan Wagner lead. Pedro with that run, 7.7-yard average per carry. He now ties Andy Pearlstein with 10 touchdowns on Staten Island. Pedro, one of the co-captains for the Susan Wagner Falcons. As the Falcons will kick off. Back for Port Richmond is Brian Del Giorno, number 32. As is Angelo Cordova. Del Giorno at about his 20. As the Ken Sparrow will kick a low swift kick.
It hit him.
It's fielded by number 24, Vincent Mazzi. It's a little hole, and then he's brought down.
Adam Richmond on the stop. Port Richmond takes over the ball.
So with 1:46 remaining here in the first quarter, Port Richmond takes over for their 4th possession. First down and 10 at about their 33-yard line. Port Richmond, incidentally, 99 wins since 1968, including their 5 wins this year. Need, of course, number one more win to reach 100. Currently, Susan Wagner riding the 15-game winning streak and a lead that goes back to 2 years, and they lead this game 8-0. The handoff to Pearlstein. Gets a hole, and he gets close to the 45, then driven back. Very close to a first down, if not. Pearlstein has done well here on the ground. Susan Wagner Falcon cheerleaders now voicing their emotions on the Susan Wagner side of the field. It is a first down for Pearlstein. Indication by referee Dick Stanley. 1:30 remaining here in the first quarter. Now Ricky Mascolo, 5'6", 147 junior, is the up back. Pearlstein, the tailback. 2 receivers to the right. Here's a screen to Del Giorno, gets the ball and spins, and he's brought down at about the 50-yard line. Led down on the tackle was Stephen Guzik. Gain of 6 yards, it'll be 2nd down and 4. So on every first down play, Coach Joe George and Port Richmond have gone to the pass play.
8-0.
And the official time on the field is, according to the referee now, Dick Stanley. That is the end of the first quarter. So again, the official time is always kept on the field. That's the end of the first quarter. The score, the Susan Wagner Falcons 8, the Port Richmond Red Raiders 0. You're watching Staten Island High School football on Staten Island Cable.
Where's the best place in town to find the most dazzling, head-turning, hottest fashions for fall at the coolest prices? Fashions designed to keep you in style anytime, any place? From designers like Oscar de la Renta, Adolfo, Gloria Vanderbilt, Nina Ricci, and Diane von Furstenberg at prices up to 70% off retail? Only on Home Shopping Club's Designer Row. Don't miss it. Tune in cable channel 52 to catch all the excitement of TV's newest fashion show.
When Fran fell, he called for help. But the only ones there were ignorance, incompetence, indifference. Friend called for help again. Confusion came instead. At last, help came. Help knew what to do. In times of emergency, are you help? Learn Red Cross First Aid.
John Tassiello with Fred Hess back here at Falcon Field at Susan Wagner High School. With underway here in the second quarter, the Port Richmond Red Raiders were forced to punt after Ken Sparry made a sack on quarterback Steve Mirasola. And the Susan Wagner Falcons will operate first down and 10 at their own 26-yard line, leading at 8-0. Again, 10:33 remaining here in the second quarter. From the I formation, as you see, quarterback Toronto giving instructions to the tailback Scooter Rabbit. Abbott, a 6'1", 190 senior, has back to pass Toronto on play action, but pass incomplete, intended for Ken Sparry, who's been around the ball on offense and defense today, Fred.
Yes, he plays both ways, Kenny. He's a tough ball player.
6'2", 190 senior, 13 receptions, 305 yards, 5 touchdowns this season.
One big, strong boy.
I believe that's the first down play, first time that Susan Wagner passed on first down.
Yes, it is.
Second and 10 at the 26. Glenn Pedro, Scooter Rabbit now from the pro set. Receiver to the left is Jay Sullivan. Toronto with the option to Glenn Pedro around the side, gets around one man and then brought out of bounds by number 4, Terrence Brody. And around Chris Comentini, and then Brody brings him out of bounds. Take a look at the option to Pedro. Went around there, you see him getting away from Comentini, and Brody just knocks him out of bounds. Well, it's good to see as we look down at the crowd now, Fred. The crowd is filling up on both sides.
They're coming in, John.
Could be around 400 or 500 here.
Well, we hope. We hope it'll be more than that.
Susan Wagner Falcons that was a first down play for Pedro. Averaging, the Falcons are 270 yards in total offense per game. The defense is strong because the offense is on the field a lot. They go from the pro set. Sullivan to the left. It's Abbott and Pedro, the running backs. Hand up to Pedro. It's a hole. He's starting to dominate now on the ground. And that's going to be another first down. Take a look at the number 1 rusher on Staten Island, Glenn Pedro, getting the hole right up the middle. He seems to be going and getting those holes, Fred, right up the middle. The touchdown run.
Alfred Pedro is always bragging about his offensive line and the job they do up there. And Glenn knows that without them, he's not going to be running for much yardage.
His touchdown run was straight up the middle.
He takes care of his offensive line.
From the eye, Pedro, the up back. Play action to Pedro, and now the pass to number 84, Ken Sparry, over the middle.
We got a flag.
And the first flag of the game by referee Dick Stanley. 9:55 remaining in the second quarter. So far, even though these teams have heated feelings for each other, so far that's the first penalty flag of the game.
I think you're just going to see a real well-played, hard-nosed football game.
Usually in the area of offensive holding. And it is on Susan Wagner.
It is. It's against Wagner.
Eagle use of the hands. So that'll drive the Falcons back to their 35-yard line. Second down and about 17. Second down and 9, check it. 9:49 and counting. First half, 8-0 Susan Wagner on around a 70-yard touchdown run for Glenn Pedro. From the pro set, and a wing back, it's Jay Sullivan. A wishbone set up here, actually. As it's taken by Scooter Rabbit around the right side, gain of about 2. That formation slightly resembled a wishbone, but it was perhaps just a wing back on the left side.
Scooter Rabbit, the ball carrier. Gain of a yard.
Gain of 1 yard, 3rd down and 8 now for Susan Wagner. Quarterback Mike Toronto gets the plays from Coach Paterzo, Fred, but he'll audibilize at that line. He's not afraid to, if he reads the defense, to change it.
He's in charge of that team. He's in charge out there. He gets a play, but if he doesn't like the defense, he makes the switch, and most of the time he's right.
go from the I formation. Abbott and Pedro. Manakito to the right. Jason Sullivan to the left. The pass now for Jason Sullivan over his head. Too far. Good coverage also there by Brian Del Giorno, defensive back. And Susan Wagner is forced to punt. Ken Sparry averaging 33% on his punts this season. Will be back. 6'2", 170 senior. 8:46 remaining. Here in the second quarter, 8-0 Susan Wagner. Gives us a chance to remind you that now available is the Memory Bank. It's a process that pays your cable bill automatically. With the Memory Bank, your cable bill is always paid on time. For further details, ask your Staten Island Cable representative. Back is Brian Del Giorno at about his 25. Sparry's punt is low. Spiral. Del Giorno will watch it roll out of bounds at about the, it takes a good Susan Wagner bounce at the 21-yard line, where Port Richmond will get their 5th offensive possession, trailing it 8-0. The biggest success so far on offense, Fred, for Port Richmond has definitely been the running of Andy Pearlstein.
Yes.
Otherwise, it's not been that much offense for the number 2 offense in Staten Island. The Port Richmond Red Raiders, of course, number 1 offense is, as far as running is concerned, the Falcons.
Will be the Falcons, yes. But, you know, we got a long way to go yet, and Port Richmond is tough.
Take a look at the Port Richmond officials. They are filming the game for their team. As Steve Mirasola will face the wind. His team trailing 8-0. The handoff to Pearlstein. Gain of about perhaps 1. Brought down, maybe 2 on that play. Second down and call it 8.
Chris Day and Adam Richmond in on the stop. Loss of a yard on the play.
Correction, loss of a yard on the play. So it's second down and 11. Pearlstein did not get anything on that play. Second down and 11. First time they stopped them so far in this game. 8 minutes remaining, second quarter. Lone setback is Pearlstein. 3 receivers now to the right. Brody and Del Giorno, 2 of them, as Mirasolo goes to the right. Tries to get a hold. He's running all the way. And flag is down on the play. Mirasolo gain of about 6 or 7, but perhaps a holding penalty on the line. Mirasolo, the Avance All-Star, captain of this, one of the co-captains of this Port Richmond team. 66 for 128, number 2 quarterback on Staten Island with 1,129 yards this year. Wait for the penalty rather by Dick Stanley. Waiting for the indication. A look at the Susan Wagner sideline. Penalty is on Port Richmond. So that'll drive the Red Raiders back. It's only the first penalty now. That's the first penalty of the game against the Red Raiders.
Second down and 21.
Second down and 21 from the Port Richmond 9. So we saw in the first quarter the Falcons deep in their own territory. Now the Port Richmond Red Raiders are pinned deep, as the momentum has shifted to the Falcons side ever since the Glenn Pedro touchdown run. Go with the lone setback and Andy Pearlstein. 3 receivers to the right and a mix-up in the line. Pearlstein did lucky to hold on to that ball. Pearlstein, rather. Gain, perhaps no gain there. It'll be third down and 21.
No gain on the play. Third down.
Joe George unable to mix up his high-tech offense so far in this second quarter. Pinned down deep in his own territory. Both teams play a variety of offense. Defensive side, Port Richmond in a 5-2 defense when they were playing D, and right now the Falcons in a 4-4 defense. 3 receivers to the right again. Lone setback is Pearlstein. The handoff goes to Pearlstein. A safe play for the Red Raiders. Around to the right side, but brought down maybe a gain of 1, and Mirasolo will be forced to punt. his day in on the stop for one of the
Fourth down and 21.
tackles for the Falcons. 6:10 remaining, second quarter. Unofficially, of course, it's kept on the field by referee Dick Stanley. And Mirasola back in his own end zone. And Frank Menachino.
Oh.
And
Safety.
Jay Sullivan, and now a safety.
Safety.
2 points for the Susan Wagner Falcons. And as they put pressure on the punter, Steve Mirasola. Take a look at the Susan Wagner side of the field. Now a 10-0 Susan Wagner lead with 5:49 remaining in the second quarter. And Wagner will receive the ball. Just a reminder that don't forget you still have a chance to watch the Sugar Ray Leonard try to win 2 championship belts as he takes on Donnie Lalonde on Monday, November 7th. Only $34.95 on Staten Island Cable's pay-per-view channel 62. Tune to channel 61 for ordering information. So far, Fred, after a early momentum and time-consuming drives by Port Richmond, which they did not score on, it's been all Susan Wagner, leading it now 10-0.
It's strange how momentum changes from 1 minute to another. You catch a break, we score a touchdown, and now all of a sudden everybody's up.
5:49 remains as it'll be Pete Rosamundo to kick off. At about his 45 is Frank Menachino. And Pedro, the kick is out of bounds. That'll be a penalty. Kick it from 5 yards deeper. And we mentioned this is the alumni game for the Susan Wagner Falcons. The last home game. The second half will go into the history of the Susan Wagner Falcons and how they started. We already mentioned on our first broadcast of Port Richmond when they played Andrew Jackson, their history in 3 years of coaches. Their most popular coach, of course, being Nick Bellotti. Joe George renaming the team the Red Raiders. Port Richmond, the career record of 39-24-2. Coach Paterzo of the Falcons, a career record of 33-12-1. Coach George in his 7th year, and Coach Paterzo for Susan Wagner in his 5th year. As Rosamundo will get set to kick it off again. Menachino back at about his 45, as is Pedro. This time a line drive kick straight in the middle, taken by Menachino at his 45. Has a hole up the middle, and he gets deep inside the Port Richmond territory. Special teams breakdown there on Port Richmond as Menachino wasn't that much of a hang time. It was a line drive kick, so Menachino had plenty of time to run it up. And the Red Raiders couldn't get down there that quickly. As you take a look at Menachino, you see him running at least 20 yards before you start seeing Red Raiders in the picture. Well, the Falcons have great field position now at the 30-yard line of Port Richmond, leading it 10-0 with 5:43 remaining. They'll go from the I, Scooter Abbott, Glenn Pedro. Now they'll go to the pro set. Receiver to the left is Sullivan, Frank Menachino, slot right. Taranto back to pass. He's got an open man. Oh, through the hand and incomplete.
Wide open.
Number 29, Scooter Abbott. He has 2 receptions this season, 16 yards, 1 touchdown. 6'1", 190 senior.
Second down and 10.
Take a look at the replay as Scooter Abbott will be wide open. But it just went through his hands. He had to leap slightly. There you see is beating his defensive back player at least 4 or 5 yards ahead of him. Split back formation. To the left is Scooter Abbott, and the handoff goes to Glenn Pedro. He's got a hole, fumble. Ball is loose, and we have to wait for the call, and it is Port Richmond's ball. So the second turnover of the game, second on Susan Wagner, as Pedro was popped after he ran to about the 20-yard line. And the Red Raiders will take over.
First down and 10 at their own 19-yard line.
First down and 10 at their own 19 with 5:31 remaining. So that time they did not go to the pro set, split back formation, and went to Pedro, and after he was hit, lost the ball. Port Richmond the other way. Again, Mirasolo facing the wind. In motion now as they go for the I formation is Mario Caruso. The handoff goes to Pearlstein. It's a bit of a hole, straight up the middle. And it gets close to the first down, a pickup of at least 8.
Andy Pearlstein, the ball carrier.
It'll be second down and short. Clock runs with 5:15 remaining. Susan Wagner, we mentioned, over the years, last 2 years, 15 straight wins, 3,447 yards passing and 3,481 yards rushing. But right now it's Port Richmond on a fake reverse here, and it's given to Belgiorno, I believe, on the end around. And Port Richmond now trying to get something going on this drive. He'll pick up a first down. Fake to the running back Pearlstein, and Del Giorno ran it around. And the Red Raiders trail 10-0 to get something going offensively. Now we have the 4-minute warning officially. The clock reads 4:28, but referee Dick Stanley has given his 4-minute warning now on the field. Gives us an opportunity to tell you that, tired of trying to figure out what's on cable TV? For your convenience, a new customized TV guide is available, made especially for Staten Island cable viewers. We'll add the low subscription price of $2.40 a month to your cable bill, and you'll receive this easy-to-read guide in the mail. Ask your representative for details today. So the story so far offensively has been a 70-yard touchdown run by Glenn Pedro and a safety for the Susan Wagner Falcons. Touchdown in the first quarter and the safety here in the second, as the Falcons leading the Port Richmond Red Raiders here for the PSAL Championship of Staten Island 10-0, with now 3:55 officially remaining here in this first half. Lone setback, Andy Pearlstein. Now they'll go from the I as Mario Caruso is the up back. Brody to the left as they play action. Mirasola keeps it, and he runs in around the side, gain of about 2 perhaps, brought down by number 53 of Susan Wagner's Adam Wisserman. Wisserman, 5'10", 170 senior, number 2 tackler on the team for Susan Wagner with 45. Also has 2 interceptions on the season. One of those interceptions a touchdown for 33 yards. Second down and 7. 3:10 remaining in this first half. Pearlstein, the lone setback. 4 receivers in there, 2 to each side for the Red Raiders, and the pass incomplete to the sidelines of the Red Raiders.
Mirasola's pass is incomplete.
Port Richmond in the white and red, and Susan Wagner in the all black. Or, depending on how you look at it, it could be very, very dark blue.
This is navy blue.
Navy blue.
Navy blue.
From this distance, Fred, it looks like black, but up
It
close,
does,
it must be
it
blue.
does. There's a big play right here.
Third down and 7. 3 minutes remaining here in the first half. 10-0 lead for the Falcons. 3 receivers to the left of Steve Mirasola. Brian Del Giorno to the right. In motion is Pearlstein. Now they have 5 receivers to the right as Mirasolo is under pressure as a blitz was by Susan Wagner, but a quick dump pass is complete. They'll be short of the first down. The ball loose. Port Richmond will maintain possession. Not see who that. See, we can see on the replay who that dump pass was for. It was Brian Del Giorno. After they had 5 receivers, including Pearlstein on the left of Mirasola, and it'll be close to the first down. We'll have to wait for the referee, Dick Stanley. They needed 7. Official timeout right now. 2:48 showing on the clock. Falcons leading it 10-0. They bring out the change to measure. It is short, perhaps, of a half a yard, or take a look at the measurement going on right now. Port Richmond fans, some of them anyway, yelling, "Go, go!" I'm sure they will. It'll be 4th and an inch, call it, for the Red Raiders. Trailing it 10-0. Wind continues to swirl here, but it's very warm here in Staten Island. Very clear and sunny day. So they will go for it on 4th and inches. Caruso and Pearlstein in the I formation. 2 receivers to the left, Del Giorno and Brody. As it's Mirasola going to keep it, and he'll have it. Steve Mirasola, the 6'1", 165 senior, one of the co-captains for the Red Raiders, will pick up that first down. Advance All-Star, Steve Mirasola. So the Red Raiders keep their drive alive with 2:28 unofficially on the clock showing. Three receivers to the right. The lone setback is Andy Pearlstein. Play action, and Mirasola as Brody slipped down. He was the one receiver to the right. He had it, but he slipped just before he had his hands on the ball. It'll be 2nd down and 10. Coach Fred Rather, we mentioned the Susan Wagner Falcons undefeated in the last 2 years. Of course, last year, going with that 8-0 record, but the problem with the eligibility of 19-year-old senior Kenton Connerly. Most of the players try to forget it, but you know, every day they're basically out on a mission this year.
Well, this year they said this is a mission season for them.
Wearing shirts at the beginning of the season, denied but not defeated.
That's right.
Under the PSAL rules, you cannot have a player over 19 years old as being pressured and sacked is Steve Mirasola. Big play defensively for the Susan Wagner Falcons. That's going to bring the Falcons, or the Red Raiders, back in their own territory to the 35 as there you see the replay. Number 53 and on the sack, Adam Wisserman, the senior linebacker, 5'10", 170. Mentioned number 2 in tackles for the team. Coach Paterzo mentioning that last year is over, but he feels that they are the defending city champions in his mind. They beat 3 playoff teams: Andrew Jackson, JFK, John F. Kennedy School, and John Adams, who was the eventual on-field city champion last year.
Can we get a time check, please?
PSA rule states no one may be 19 before the season begins.
That's right. If your birthday is September 1st, if it's after September 1st, you're eligible to play that year. Unfortunately, there was a mix-up, and Kenton was overage.
1:38 remaining now at timeout by the Red Raiders. They trail at 10-0. It'll be 3rd down. Clock reading 1:32. Just a chance to tell you that Staten Island Cable is pleased to announce the addition of pay-per-view programming for our cable subscribers. Now available on cable channel 62 and 63, our Viewers' Choice services will bring you recently released movies, exclusive sporting events, and much more. Tune to channel 61 to find out how to order events and what's coming up. 3rd down and call it 7, and the Red Raiders back at their 35-yard line after being close to midfield. That's sacked by Wisserman on Mirasola. That's the 2nd time Mirasola has been sacked. He was sacked 10 times in a game versus Clinton this year. Red Raiders, in their 5 wins this year, have not given up more than 1 touchdown in any of their wins. So far that has held true, but they trail 10-0, and blindsided is Mirasola after he just released the ball. Lucky to get that ball off.
Gain of 9 yards on the play.
Gain of 9 on the play.
4th down and
I believe the pass was to Pearlstein. I watched Mirasola get slammed and not see him release the ball. Clock showing 1:21 remaining. It'll be 4th down and perhaps 1. Or
No, it's 11, John.
11, okay.
11.
That's right, the sack brought them back. 4th down and 11 for the Red Raiders. And once again, Mirasola was pressured. And lucky to get that ball off. Now we have, I believe, another timeout on the field. It'll be the second one, I believe, charged to Port Richmond. As take a look at the bench of the Red Raiders and Coach Joe George. Joe George, created the city's most high-tech offense. Star defensive back at Farrell. Gonna need some of that offense to get his team back in it, trailing 10-0. Mentioned Coach Peterzo. He is a 6-year assistant at Tottenville. That's where Coach Peterzo of Susan Wagner got his start. 7-year assistant at Susan Wagner. Also a Wagner College assistant. And 1986, the PSAL champion Susan Wagner Falcons trying to do the same here in 1988 as it's 4th down and 11, and punting will be Steve Mirasola. A short but high kick. That punt only went about maybe 10 yards as it rolled back to midfield. And with 1:14 unofficial remaining here in the first half, the Falcons will operate 1st and 10.
Kicking into that win is tough.
It's a swirling win, as we mentioned. Mirasola throwing into it, that time punting into it. Luckily for the fans here and everyone here today, it is, as we mentioned, a warm wind, but it nevertheless is strong. 1st and 10 for the Falcons. They'll go from the I formation. Scooter Abbott, the tailback. Glenn Pedro, the upback. Now they'll change as Abbott becomes a wingback. 2 wings now to the left and right. Lone setback becomes Pedro. The handoff goes to Frank Menachino around the right side across the 50-yard line. So Coach Peterzo using his receivers as wingbacks on that particular play, and Menachino ran around the right side as the clock continues to run. Under a minute remaining unofficially. 55 seconds showing on the clock. 2 receivers to the left. They'll go from the I, Abbott and Pedro. Taranto making sure everyone knows what's going on the line as back to pass. The pass is incomplete. As double coverage in on Frank Menachino off of his hands. Stops the clock with 42 seconds remaining here in the first half.
2nd down and 6.
2nd down and 6. Menachino, the 5'7", 161 senior, he was injured in training camp, and because of that injury, the Susan Wagner Falcons and Coach Al Peterzo saw the talents of Scooter Abbott, and thus Scooter in the starting lineup. Now Menachino is also playing with a sprained ankle in this game. He's also the backup quarterback for the Falcons. Taranto is not coming out of this game. Out of the I formation, a quick draw play to Scooter Abbott. It's a big hole up the middle. That'll be a 1st down at the 35-yard line with 30 seconds showing on the clock. And now a timeout, the first charge timeout to the Susan Wagner Falcons. Well, we know in normal situations, Fred, that the team who has the ball in this situation usually will set up to try to get the field goal with only 30 seconds remaining, but no way are we going to see that from Coach Peterzo.
You're not going to see a field goal up here with Al.
I asked him, it's amazing. I said, what happens? It probably won't be in this situation, but what happens if it's 4th down and 12 with 2 seconds remaining and team trailing by 1? He told me straight out, without even hesitating, he's going for the touchdown.
That's right. That's right. He has never had a kicker up here. He said it's a wasted time. I'd rather go for 6 or 2 rather than going for the 1 or the 3.
Well, the reason he gave me was because of the doesn't want to have the decisions for the kickers to think about it. He hates the field goal, but I would think another reason has got to be this wind. It is swirling around here.
It's always tough to kick up here. You never know which way the wind is going to be going, and it can change in the middle of the game. While you think you have to win the first half, it could be turned around the second half. It'd be a different situation all over again.
Staten Island standings have Susan Wagner at 3-0 in first, Port Richmond with 2-0 record. New Dorp at 3rd place, who was off this week with a 1-2 Staten Island record. Yesterday, or depending on when you're watching this game, Saturday, November 5th, Tottenville defeated Curtis 14-13 for their first win. They take over 4th place with a 1-2 record. Curtis 0-3 on Staten Island. Here you see Menachino in motion as Taranto back to pass. As play underway, looking long. It's Menachino, but he's out of bounds. He had a step on the defensive back, number 26, Angelo Cordova.
Toronto's pass intended for Menachino.
Now the clock still reads 31, but that's a mistake because we started the play with the clock reading 31 seconds, so it's
Second down and 10.
somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 seconds, perhaps a little under 20 remaining in this first half. 10-0. A big 70-yard touchdown run by Glenn Pedro in the first quarter. Stopped any Port Richmond momentum that they did have, and a safety by the Red Raiders has the Falcons up 10-0. Menachino in motion as the pass is complete to Scooter Abbott down the sideline. That he'll be close to a first down. The scoreboard read fourth down. Was that a fourth down, Fred?
No, it wasn't. It was only third.
That was third down, and it's close to the first down now. If not, it is, according to referee Dick Stanley, the first down for the Falcons. It's got to be very close to the end of the first half, around 5 seconds. We'll wait. Clock continues to run as Toronto back to pass. He's being pressured, dumps it off, incomplete. That'll stop the clock, intended for Frank Menachino. Good 2-minute drill here for Alberto's Susan Wagner Falcons. And
you know he's looking end zone. He's not doing anything else.
Toronto's pass is incomplete.
Do not know how much time is left. It's somewhere in the neighborhood of 5 to 10 seconds remaining in this first half. And
Second down and 10.
second down and 10.
Port Richmond 23.
The 23-yard line of Port Richmond. That incomplete pass, of course, stops the clock. Susan Wagner does have 2 timeouts remaining. They'll go from the eye. Menachino slot right. Sullivan slot left. Toronto back to pass. Looking for the end zone. It's incomplete, intended for Ken Sparry. The clock shows 12 seconds. That is the unofficial time.
Toronto's pass intended for Kenny
It'll be
Sparry.
third down and 10 from the 23.
Third down and 10.
So again, no field goal attempt, even though the wind this way, Fred, will favor any field goal kicker, but we will not see that.
You won't see it here.
Third and 10. Unofficially 12 seconds remaining. Scooter Abbott, Glenn Pedro, out of the I formation. Menachino slot left. Jay Sullivan slot right. Toronto play action. Back to pass. It is incomplete. Pass intended for Ken Sparry. Clock showing 6 seconds. It'll be fourth down and 10.
And that's the end of the first.
And that'll now
it.
officially end
That's
the
it.
first half, according to referee Dick Stanley. So at the end of the first half, the score, the Susan Wagner Falcons 10, the Port Richmond Red Raiders nothing. You're watching the Staten Island High School Football Game of the Week on Staten Island Cable.
Hi, I'm Mitch Robinson from Staten Island Cable. If you're having problems with poor reception or reception at all, consult your handbook. And also, here are a few simple things that you can do before calling for our help. First, check to see that your television set is turned on and tuned to channel 3. Inverter box lights up, and make sure that the cable connectors in the back of the TV are tightly secured. If you have more than one TV set that has cable service, turn them on and see if they are working properly. If you're still having problems with poor cable reception, give us a call to arrange for a service visit at 447-7161. These helpful hints have been brought to you as a service by Staten Island Cable.
Ray, I have a wheelchair here that came from Spain.
Quarter, the Susan Wagner Falcons lead the Red Raiders 10-0 on a now an official 69-yard run by Glenn Pedro in the first quarter, and a safety that was slipped right through punter Steve Mirasola's hands, accounting for the 10 points for the Falcons, and they lead 10-0. And the Falcons will kick off. Back is Brian Del Giorno and Angelo Cordova for the Red Raiders as we start the third quarter. Back over the head as the ball will go into the end zone, a touchback over the head of Vincent Mazzi of Port Richmond. And Fred, the Red Raiders will operate first down and 10. What do you expect for the Red Raiders to try to get back here in this second half?
I don't think you're going to see much of a change. They're a passing team. They got the quarterback to do it, and they're just going to go with their game plan and try and get back in a hurry. They have a lot of time.
Just underway, third quarter, first down and 10 for the Port Richmond Red Raiders, trailing at 10-0. And we mentioned that the Red Raiders have not given up more than one touchdown in any of their 5 wins. So if they're going to win this game, they're going to have to shut out the Falcons here in the second half. First down and 10, Andy Perlstein, the lone setback. Mirasola back to pass, but a flag down. Something we were mentioning, Fred, that we've only saw 2 in the first half. There's the first one early, 3 seconds in. Perhaps a delay of game by the Red Raiders. It is a legal procedure, rather, on the Red Raiders. It'll be now first down and 15. Ball back at the 15-yard line. So Steve Mirasola will be facing the wind.
That might change it a little bit. They may do some more running than passing because of the wind.
So the Red Raiders, though, will have the wind at their back in the fourth quarter. Mirasola back to pass on first down. A quick dump pass to Perlstein. Around the right side, he's got only one man to beat, and he's brought down from behind. He's one man to beat was number 38, Jay Sullivan, but he was brought down behind. So once again, an auspicious beginning in the first quarter for the Red Raiders, and now the same start in the third quarter as we start both halves. And a first down, a screen pass for Andy Perlstein, from Steve Mirasola. Big play on first down.
Gain of 15 yards.
They needed 15, and they got it after that illegal procedure penalty. Ball now at the 35-yard line, first and 10. High formation. Mario Caruso, Andy Perlstein, the running backs in motion with Del Giorno. The handoff to Perlstein, again around the right side. He's got a little hole, and then he's brought down by Frank Menachino, number 26. So once again, the Red Raiders come out and have an excellent drive going. Take a look at the replay as you see Del Giorno in motion. And Perlstein gets the handoff around the right side and finally brought down by defensive back Frank Menachino. 11 minutes remaining. Third quarter, 10-0. Falcons lead, but the Red Raiders are driving, trying to get on the scoreboard. Average 24.3 points per game this year. 3 receivers to the right, to the left of Mirasola. The handoff to Perlstein. Spins around, still on his feet. Gets close to midfield, and he picks up a first down. And the Red Raider side of the field is standing and voicing their pleasure of what they're saving right now. They take a look at it again. Perlstein spins. There's a spin that got him at least 5 or 6 extra yards. And speaking of the crowd, Fred, we get a unofficial word here. There's at least 1,100 people here. The late arriving crowd is filled up now on both sides of the stands.
We've got a good crowd here. Like you said, it's over 1,000.
Started at about 400 or 500, and now it's in the thousands. 3 receivers to the left of Mirasola. Lone setback is Perlstein. The screen pass to Del Giorno. Gets the ball, perhaps a gain of 1. Second down and 9. Del Giorno playing with a sore knee. Again, he missed 1 game this year versus August Martin. 19 receptions, 482 yards. The number 1 receiver in yards as far as yards is concerned on Staten Island. 7 touchdowns. Second down and 9. Perlstein, lone setback. 2 receivers to the left of Mirasola. He's back to pass. He's being pressured, and he's sacked for the 3rd time today. Number 23, Chris Reale, the sophomore. Chris Reale, the sophomore for the Falcons. 5'10" linebacker, 185. Brother David plays also on the line.
10 yards on the play. 3rd down and 20.
This defensive line predominantly seniors and juniors. That time the sophomore in on that sack. These 2 teams evenly matched as far as weight is concerned. They basically both do it with athleticism and agility rather than strength. 3rd down and long. Go from the I formation. The pitch to Perlstein, and And fake reverse. Pearlstein will keep it around the right side, going nowhere. Brought down by number 25, Gary Giannone, this senior. Defensive back, 5'8", 151. Giannone, mentioned, 2 interceptions for the Susan Wagner Falcons, making that stop, so it's 4th down. So that drive stopped. Once again, every time Port Richmond has a drive, the sack is the key that stops it. And back is Mirasola, steps up to punt, kicking into the wind. The wind just destroys the ball on any punt. Just crosses the 50 to about the 48-yard line, where the Falcons will take over on their first offensive possession today, or rather in this 3rd quarter.
On a punt of 9 yards, Wagner takes
Punt of only 9 yards. It's tough kicking into this wind. Well, the Falcons will operate 1st down and 10. I want to mention while we have a chance, a quick congratulations to Mel Lawson, our cable store manager, and Christine Smith, who also works on our broadcasts when she's not on her honeymoon. They got married this weekend. And also our director, Roy Menton. Happy birthday. Celebrating a birthday today. 1st down and 10 for the Susan Wagner Falcons. Taranto back to pass. The pass complete to Frank Menachino. He's blasted, but picks up at least 8 on the play. Good reception that time, as Menachino was blasted. He did well to hold on to it.
He did. That was a hard hit.
2nd down and 2, as you see. Taranto with plenty of time. And then hit after the reception was Menachino, hit by Brian Del Giorno. 7:44 remaining, 3rd quarter, 10-0 Susan Wagner, their first offensive possession of the 3rd quarter. They go from the pro set. Glenn Pedro, Scooter Rabbit, also a wing back to the left for the Falcons. The handoff to Pedro up the middle. That's one thing Coach Joe George had to tell his players at halftime, to close up that middle where Pedro has been getting most of his yards. Picks up about 4 there. Pedro, the leading rusher on Staten Island, co-captain, 5'10", 190.
Pedro, the ball carrier.
Last year he had 67 rushes for 467 yards.
1st and 10 from the 39.
An intense and a hard worker for Coach Al Paterzo, Susan Wagner Falcons, and a 1st down picked up by Glenn Pedro. As they are now at the 40-yard line of Port Richmond, 1st and 10. From the pro set, wing back is Giannone to the left. Receiver to the left is Sullivan. Richmond showing blitz, now drop back. The handoff goes to Scooter Rabbit.
Scooter Rabbit.
Around the right side, a pickup of about 6, but a flag on the play. .646 remaining. And I believe there was a mistake on the flag.
Gain of 6 yards on the play. 2nd down and 4.
It'll be 2nd down and 4. Mentioned the standings. This playoff situation here in the PSAL. The winner of this game with Staten Island will automatically get a berth. The winner of all the divisions get a berth. And the top 3 from Brooklyn, winners from Staten Island, Queens, and the Bronx, and 2 wild cards enter the playoffs in the PSAL playoff format. I'll go from the pro set, 2nd down and 4. Port Richmond drops back after showing blitz in the beginning as the pitch goes to Pedro, and he's crunched immediately. Brought down by number 31, Ricky Mascolo. The last time we saw a pitch like that, Pedro did not hold on. That time he did, but he went nowhere. Take a look at it again. As the pitch going to Glenn Pedro, but going nowhere. Ricky Mascolo reading it well. 3rd down and 4. Go from the eye. Abbott and Glenn Pedro. Receiver to the left is Jay Sullivan. Man in motion is Menachino. He is the wing back, and Taranto slips. Still has time now, runs up the middle. He's going to hold it, and he's brought down, but he's close to the 1st down. Hit by number 54, Al Kushner.
Another flag, John.
Flag on the play. Kushner, the 6'2", 193 senior, with the tackle on Marizilla. Holding penalty on Susan Wagner. That's only the 3rd penalty, I believe, in the game on the Falcons. 4th in this game totally. It's been a relatively penalty-free game. So the Falcons will be driven back after Menachino picked up the first down. Now number 89 of the Falcons checks in, Chris Fidali, junior wingback, 5'9", 155. First time seeing him today. It's imperative for the Red Raiders to win this game. If they lose, they will have to hope Clinton would defeat August Martin for Port Richmond to try to get a wild card berth should the Falcons defeat the Red Raiders here today. From the I formation, in motion is Fidali. Keno slot right, go from the I. Back to pass is Taranto. He's pressured and the pass incomplete. As he's going with the wind in his back. That was a third down play, and now it'll be fourth down with 4:50 remaining in a fast-moving ball game.
Pass intended for Kenny Sparry, incomplete. Fourth down and 15.
Fourth down and 15. Take a look at the standings around the PSAL. The top three teams. In Queens, it's Bayside with a 3-0 record, 5-1 overall. August Martin in second, tied with Beach Channel. They have 1-1 records in the conference. August Martin 4-2 overall, and 1-6 is Beach Channel. They're in their division, though, are tied for second with that record. Back to punt is Ken Sparry. Brian Del Giorno at about his 10th. And a flag, whistle rather, or now the flag. Perhaps too much time or a legal procedure on the Falcons. Wait for the call from Dick Stanley. Legal procedure on the Falcons. So 2 penalties in a row, Fred, on the Falcons.
Not the time to self-destruct.
Leading at 10-0. Incidentally, Fred, you definitely remind me, your voice, of Dick Lynch of the Giants radio broadcast, of the voice of a pro. Dick Lynch, veteran color commentator on the Giant radio broadcast. Here's the punt by Sparry, a good punt. Del Giorno back to his 5, had the wind at his back. Del Giorno gets away from one. Now he's brought down, trying to get away from his man. It was number 29, Scooter Abbott, on that tackle. What a punt by, well, again, aided by the wind was Sparry, averaging 33 yards on his punts, but he was aided by the wind that time. Del Giorno was driven back, and then Abbott on the tackle. 4:24 unofficially remaining here in this third quarter, and a 10-0 lead for the Falcons. Again, we mentioned in the win last week versus Curtis, they had their shutout string broken 4 straight games. The Falcons did not allow a point. They've only given up 20 points all season. They have shut out the Red Raiders so far for 2, and 4:24 remaining here in this third quarter, 2 3/4 of a game. In this game, leading at 10-0. The Red Raiders operate first down and 10. Pearlstein, the lone setback. 2 receivers to the right. Hand off to Pearlstein. Around the right side, gets a good hole. He picks up about 6 or 7. Where it'll be second down and around 5. Call it. There's 4 minutes remaining here in the third quarter. 10-0 lead for the Falcons. Take a look at the standings around. Again, we now went from Queens to the Bronx. DeWitt Clinton with a conference record of 2-1, 6-1 overall, are in first place in the Bronx. JFK, John F. Kennedy High School, 1-1 record, 3-4 overall. Adelaide Stevenson also tied for second in the Bronx with a 1-1 record and a 2-5 overall record. Lehman in third with 1-2 in the conference and 4-3 overall. It'll be second down and about 5 as the handoff to Pearlstein around the right side again. He's still on his feet and now brought down. Close to the first down marker. Ball at about 3rd and 1. Just under 4 minutes remaining.
I think he made that.
He did make the first down.
He made that first down, John.
Yeah, from about 5. So Pearlstein, who has 2 consecutive 100-yard games, the 5'8", 175 senior.
From the 26.
First and 10 from the 26 for the Red Raiders, trailing at 10-0. Next week, the Red Raiders will be home, their homecoming game versus Tottenville. Susan Wagner Falcons will be at DeWitt Clinton playing Lehman High School, who does not have a field, thus they play at the DeWitt Clinton School. That's Del Giorno in motion. The handoff to Pearlstein. Gain of about 1, second down and 9. The homecoming game next week for the Port Richmond Red Raiders have a U.S. Army show. Tanks will be there and free blood pressure tests before the game, and according to what some of the farmers told me in Port Richmond, even during the game, should they need it.
coach may need it.
Director Roy Benton wanting to know if the Tanks will be bombing the field at Port Richmond Stadium next week. 2:30 remaining. Third quarter, the handoff to Pearlstein, driven back, nowhere to go on 2nd and 9. It'll be now 3rd and perhaps 10 again, as he perhaps lost a yard. So Pearlstein on those last 2 carries, as Joe George predominantly now, his offense is Andy Pearlstein on the ground. Let's take a look at the replay. Let's see who got in on that tackle. Number 58, Theo, 56 rather, it was Angelo DeFlippis. 56, Angelo DeFlippis in on that tackle. Number 1 in tackles coming into the game, as we mentioned, 5'8", 203 senior. He's hurt on the play.
Hurt on the play.
Called it, Fred, and he's been used a lot in this game. It's one of the things both sides of the field the players have to play, especially on the Port Richmond side. I asked Coach George about that. He feels it's just all in your mind. But the players have to feel
that's
that
easy for the coach to say.
Unofficially, 2 minutes remaining, 3rd quarter. 3rd down and call it about 10. With the running back, that was one lone. They go from the I formation. As Brizola back to pass. As the pass is intercepted down the sidelines, it could be a touchdown. Number 34 for the Susan Wagner Falcons spins, and he is brought down. Number 34 is Stephen Guzzi, the senior defensive back, 5'5", 140. That's the first mistake for the Port Richmond Red Raiders. Steve Guzzi with the interception. One of the things Coach Joe George said his team could not afford to do is make mistakes, and that's the biggest one so far. Wide open was, unfortunately, the receiver for the Susan Wagner Falcons on that pass from Mirasola. And Guzzi, the 5'5", 140 senior with the big interception, and this is the deepest, other than the touchdown, that the Falcons have penetrated inside the Port Richmond territory. 1:44 remaining, they lead it of a score of 10-0. Go from the eye, the hand up to Pedro, squirts through a hole, spins, and gain of about 3. Keep our eye on Andy Pearlstein on the sidelines. Angelo Cordova was one of the running backs in on that last play, replacing him. Now the Falcons deep on a 2nd down.
Pedro, the ball carrier, gain of 4 yards on the play.
Gain of 4 on the play.
2nd down and goal.
2nd down and goal for the Falcons. In on for the Falcons is Chris Vidal, a wing-back junior. They'll go in from the eye. Hand off to Scooter Abbott. Spins around, and he's in for the touchdown. Scooter Abbott with a beautiful spin move. And the Susan Wagner Falcons now lead it by the score of 16-0. Scooter Abbott with his touchdown. Let's take a look at the replay. As there you see, watch that spin right there, right over the defensive player down for Port Richmond, number 12, Jason Gold. There's one of the maintenance men of the Susan Wagner Falcons. We got here at 9 o'clock, and that man was up this game. So the Falcons now go for the 2-point conversion. Scooter Abbott coming into the game with 69 rushes and 281 yards, showing his athletic ability there with that spin. Here is Toronto, and he's hit. The ball loose, picked up, and the 2-point conversion will be no good, but the Falcons lead it 16-0. Touchdown in the 1st quarter, a safety in the 2nd quarter. And now the Scooter Abbott 6-yard run unofficially, as the Falcons up by the score of 16-0. So the Red Raiders will get the ball back, trailing by 16. There's an opportunity right now. Tell you that about advertising on Staten Island Cable. You want to advertise your business on TV? Television advertising is now available to local businesses on Staten Island Cable. You can now advertise on CNN, MTV, ESPN, USA, Madison Square Garden, and Sports Channel. Rates are available on request. Call 447-0241. Unofficially, under a minute remaining here at Falcon Field at Susan Wagner High School. The Falcons lead it 16-0. Brian Del Giorno. And number 24, Vincent Mazzi, back for the Port Richmond Red Raiders, will be taking the kick from the Falcons. Kicking was Frank Menachino on that kick, not Ken Sparry. Ball into the end zone, it'll be a touchback for the Red Raiders. Will operate first and 10 at their 20. So Frank Menachino in there doing the punting threat.
Kicking off, yeah.
The kicking, rather, I'm sorry.
We do go off and on. Share duties with Kenny Sparry.
Listed as also the backup quarterback, but Frank Menachino with that kick, first down and 10 for the Red Raiders at their 20-yard line, trailing at 16-0 with under a minute remaining. Take a look if we can find Andy Pearlstein
you
back.
see him out there? I don't see him.
It's Mirasola with the lone setback being Mario Caruso, so Pearlstein not out there. Del Giorno and Cordova are the receivers to the right. As Mirasola back to pass, he's in trouble, he's being chased, and he's brought down for the fourth time today. Number 82, Devon Simmons, defensive end, 5'11", 170 junior. With the sack on Steve Mirasola. He was being chased. And take a look at the replay. Mirasola had a sprint to the left, and there you see him being chased by Devon Simmons. Loss of 8, second down, and long, and that'll officially, according to referee Dick Stanley, end the third quarter. So with the score, the Susan Wagner Falcons 16, and the Port Richmond Red Raiders nothing. You're watching the Staten Island High School Football Game of the Week on Staten Island Cable.
The setup.
We have too much money. He doesn't care about that.
The seduction. The mystery. The masquerade. Rob Lowe.
He wants to send you to the electric chair?
Meg Tilly.
No, you.
Masquerade. Was it love at first sight, or was it murder? Masquerade. In stock on Viewer's Choice.
John Tassiello with Fred Hess back here at Susan Wagner High School. Play underway in the fourth quarter, and Steve Mirasola back at his own end zone to punt. He's got the wind at his back now, aiding him. That's a high kick at midfield. The ball will be let go by number 38, Jay Sullivan. And the Falcons will operate first down and 10 in good field position. In that fourth quarter, flag on the play. Andy Pearlstein came back momentarily on a third down play, but he's still limping out there. That's going to hurt the Fred. The leading man other than Mirasola on the offense is hurt right now.
He always, every time he carried the ball, it looked like he was one player away from just breaking it all the way.
The Falcons leading at 16-0 as we start this fourth quarter. Red Raiders shut out for 3 straight quarters.
We have a penalty against Wagner. That'll be roughing the kicker.
So if that's the case, it'll be a first down for the Red Raiders. It was 4th and 17. So now it's a first down for the Red Raiders as we begin the fourth quarter. Just under 12 minutes.
So Richmond keeps the ball first down and 10.
Take a look to see Pearlstein comes out. Again, the number 4 rusher on Staten Island, Andy Pearlstein.
Here he comes.
He's coming back in. As is Angelo Cordova. Del Giorno and number 88, Dan Reimers. Receivers to the left of Mirasola. Terrence Brody to the right. Lone setback as Pearlstein gets the ball, and he's brought down immediately. Good stop by number 23 of Susan Wagner, Chris Reale. Only the sophomore. It's 2 good plays he's made in this game today.
Seems to be in the family. His brother played last year. His father's an assistant coach on the sideline.
Gain of a yard on the play, 2nd and 9. Now Mario Caruso comes in. Reimers and Cordova goes out. Also coming in now, number 46 for Port Richmond, Anthony Salamando. It's Caruso and Pearlstein from the I formation. Del Giorno slot left, Brody right. Quick screen here to number 43, Pearlstein. He's wrapped up.
He can't cut the way he was in the first half. And he got hurt that time.
He's still limping.
Well, he's limping.
Favoring his right leg, I believe. It'll be 3rd down and about 9.
I noticed our team doctor was over there before. He was taking a look at him. You know, and that's a man we never speak about, the team doctors. Without them, we can't play a football game.
Sure, football, of course, is a contact sport.
We have our doctor. He goes to our away games. He's up here for practice, and Dr. Podesta does some job for us. He works at a Dr. Sherman and Bonamo's office.
From the I formation, they'll go. Here's a good recovery by Brian Del Giorno after Pearlstein was hit. Almost a fumble on the play as they went for the double reverse. Luckily, no fumble there, just Pearlstein still limping. Take a look at the replay here. Watch the handoff to Pearlstein. Gets it to Del Giorno, but Del Giorno just got the ball as Pearlstein was crunched. But nowhere near enough for a 1st down. So with the wind at his back, Steve Mirasolo will be to punt. And about his 45 is Frank Menachino. Jay Sullivan also back there. Punt is high. Beautiful punt.
Beautiful
Good
kick.
hang time. Menachino right there at about his 35. Spins away from one. Now comes back the other way. He's got an angle on the sidelines. One man to beat. And he cannot beat him as
he came down.
Beautiful spin moves. Jason Gold was the man on the hit. Frank Menachino spinning right, left, and then back right again. So take a look at it again. Good hang time. Excellent punt by Mirasolo with aiding the win. There you see the spin. Nowhere to go. And back the other way. And he picks up a good 20-yard return after perhaps being in trouble in the beginning of that punt. 1st down and 10 for the Susan Wagner Falcons. Ball at the 48-yard line. 9:25 remaining. Falcons lead it 16-0. They'll go from the I. Scooter Rabbit, Bud Pedro. And now some movement on the line. Susan Wagner players saying it's encroachment, offsides on the Red Raiders, but perhaps they were drawn offside.
You always point at the other guy.
Sure. Wait for the penalty call by Dick Stanley. And he is offside on the Red Raiders. That'll be 2nd down and 5. Ball brought now into the Port Richmond Red Raider territory at about the 46. 9:25 showing on the clock. It's been all Susan Wagner as far as the score is concerned. They lead it 16-0. Touchdown in the 1st quarter and a touchdown here in the 3rd. We're actually in the 3rd. We're in the 4th quarter right now. From the I formation, handoff to Pedro. Brought down after a gain of 2 or 3. Ball came loose, but after the play, recovering the ball was number 42, Josh Siegel.
2nd down and 4.
Next week, Staten Island Cable will be over at New Dorp. Coach Joe Vayner again, New Dorp, and the Curtis Warriors at New Dorp High School. Curtis still looking for the 1st Staten Island win. New Dorp off this week. And the Staten Island record of 3-4. As back to pass in Toronto. Pass is juggled and incomplete, intended for Ken Sparry. Good hit there by number 12, Jason Gold. And next week, Curtis versus New Dorp. The times will be shown on Staten Island Cable's channel 38. Incidentally, this game will be shown, depending on when you're watching it, tonight, Sunday, November 6th at 8 p.m. Tomorrow, Monday, November 7th at 6:30, and Tuesday at 8. Watching Staten Island High School football on Staten Island Cable. John Tastiello along with Fred Hess. 8:41 remaining here in the 4th quarter. 3rd down and about 5. As Toronto keeps the ball around the right side. He'll be short of the 1st down. About 3 yards. See what Coach Paterno decides here.
2 yards on the play. 4th down and 2.
4th down and 2. Susan Wagner started in 1968. The first year of the varsity team, though, was in 1972, coached by Joe Ryan. 5 Island championships and 1 PSAL title. Ryan was a former New Dorp and Villanova University star, New Dorp player here on Staten Island. He also played in the NFL with the Chicago Bears, Philadelphia Eagles, and the New York Titans. And he spearheaded the $20,000 fundraising drive to start the Susan Wagner program. Back to punt will be Sparry, punting into the wind. Oh, a good punt going into the wind. Ball will roll and into the end zone. But Sparry did well punting into the wind. Mirasol had his problems punting into the wind, but Sparry showed no effects of having any problems as the Red Raiders will operate 1st down and 10 at their own 20. Trailing at 16-0, 7:46 remaining 4th quarter. Now, interesting enough, that fundraising drive by Coach Ryan was the 3rd drive in 4 years on Staten Island as Tottenville and Port Richmond got their programs underway in the years previous. Money came from shopping centers, the ferry terminal, dances, candy sales, what have you, and Susan Wagner did raise over $17,500 that first year. 1st down and 10 for the Red Raiders at their 20, trailing it by the score of 16-0. Lone setback was Caruso as Mirasol is back to pass. The ball's tipped and incomplete. Pass intended for Angelo Cordova. As Prostein was not in on that play. Mentioned he has an injured leg. 1971, the Susan Wagner Falcons played a JV season with a record of 7-1. And 1972, the first year at varsity, they suffered 2 straight winless seasons. Their first victory came in 74 against Lafayette of Brooklyn. That year, Coach Ryan and the Falcons had a 5-4 record. It'll be 2nd down. Lone setback was number 44. We'll get his name. There's a pass wide open. Brian Del Giorno. He's got free lane all the way. He's in for the touchdown. Coach Joe George and the Port Richmond Red Raiders, as the crowd was just about lulled to sleep. I was looking for Andy Perlstein, Fred, and I was looking at Kristen Limas in the backfield as a lone setback, but wide open, not within 20 yards, was Brian Del Giorno, and a touchdown for the Red Raiders. Let's take a look at it. Mirasol with time. Got a good block by Lamas, and there's the pass, wide open with the wind at Mirasola's back. Brian Del Giorno. And the Red Raiders on the board, trailing it now 16-6. Del Giorno, 5'10", 160 senior. He's the key guy, as we mentioned, according to Coach Joe George. 19 receptions, 482 yards coming into the game. That's his 8th touchdown on the season. He had 2 touchdowns last week. The pass was from about the 20. That's an unofficial 80-yard touchdown pass from Steve Mirasola to Brian Del Giorno, and now a timeout on the field. I believe it's called by Coach Joe George, and a new rule in the PSAL as the coach is allowed to come on the field during the timeout. You see a Wagner sign from the Port Richmond side of the field. Very right to the point with those 2 signs. So that gets a rise out of the crowd, just as the crowd was about to, the Port Richmond side anyway, being lulled to sleep. Del Giorno, the 80-yard reception. And the Red Raiders score a touchdown, breaking the shutout string of 3 quarters and almost, actually 7:15 remaining here in the 4th quarter. The string, however, was broken as far as the Red Raiders, should they win this game, of all their wins allowing just 1 touchdown in all their wins. The Falcons with 2 touchdowns in this game. So Coach Joe George in the huddle on that timeout instructs his players. Obviously, we'll go for the head coach Joe George. Obviously, the Red Raiders will go for the 2-point conversion. That woke up the crowd on both sides, Fred.
That was a perfect play. He laid that ball right out there.
Giorno, no one was near Del Giorno.
Never broke stride.
At all, as Mirasola in trouble, and he's brought down on the 2-point conversion attempt. Brought down by number 71, Felix Vigent, senior 6'2", 250. He's one of the biggest offensive linemen on the Susan Wagner side. I mentioned both teams even in weight, but Vigent, one of the bigger players. So the score remains 16-6.
The score now, Susan Wagner 16, Port Richmond 6.
As the Red Raiders will get set to kick off. Just a final reminder that don't forget you still have a chance to watch Sugar Ray Leonard try to win 2 championship belts as he takes on Donnie Lalonde on Monday night, November 7th. Only $34.95 on Staten Island Cable's pay-per-view, Channel 62. Tune to Channel 61 for ordering information. 16-6, the Susan Wagner Falcons lead the Port Richmond Red Raiders. In case you joined us late, just now an 80-yard touchdown pass from Steve Mirasola to Brian Del Giorno. Gives the Red Raiders their first points of this game. Glenn Pedro back to receive this kick from number 58, Pete Rosamando. And there's the line drive kick with the wind at his back. That'd be drilled into the end zone. Again, the Red Raiders
ball home.
all the way back, and that is the area of the Bayonne Bridge where Port Richmond is located, kicking that ball in that location towards Brielle Avenue.
He's close to home.
First down and 10 from their own 20-yard line.
And the Falcons will operate first down and 10 from their own 20. Again, the wind at Rosamando's back, and that's the ball going into the end zone. 7:15 remaining. So let's see what Coach Al Paterzo has in mind for his Susan Wagner Falcons, now leading it by 10. Pedro and Scooter Abbott in the I formation as the Red Raiders fans chanting defense. They've been overall more vociferous in the sidelines, on the stands anyway, as the handoff to Pedro. He's spun around, but a good gain, perhaps 5. Brought down by number 42, Josh Siegel. Siegel, the 6'0", 210 senior. He was out last week with a broken nose. One of the captains of the Port Richmond Red Raiders. Also plays at tight end. Second down and 2, a gain of 8 on that play. They'll go from the I again. 2 receivers to the right of Taranto. Jay Sullivan and Frank Menachino. Menachino waving instructions for Sullivan to move back a little bit. As the handoff to Glenn Pedro, he'll pick up the first down.
First down.
And a flag down, but now that's the first time Coach Fred, I keep calling Coach Fred, that we've seen some extracurricular activities after the play.
Yeah, it's been a very relatively clean game all day long. I think maybe now just a little emotional.
With that touchdown from Del Giorno, as Chris Fidali comes out for the Falcons. Late hit the penalty on number 50 of the Port Richmond Red Raiders. It is Michael Banamo. And that'll bring the ball to the 48-yard line where the Falcons will operate first down and 10. .6:22 remaining here in the fourth quarter. Falcons lead it 16-6 out of the I formation. Now they go to the pro set. Abbott and Pedro, 2 receivers to the right. Sullivan and Menachino. Handoff to Pedro, gets around one tackle around the right side. It's Del Giorno trying to stop him, and he does. Brian Del Giorno wraps up Glenn Pedro. And I guess, Fred, Coach Al Paterzo looking to give it to Pedro and kill some of this clock right now.
He's got 2 ideas in mind now. One to kill the clock and see if he can get into another score and put the game away.
Let's watch Pedro here on the replay as he tries to angle around the right side, but he's brought down by Brian Del Giorno, number 32. Continue with the Susan Wagner history when we get a chance. Right now the game is extremely interesting with 5:25 remaining. And they'll go from the I, second down and 10. Now they go with a split back formation. In motion is Jay Sullivan. The pitch to Pedro around the left side this time. He's got a hole around the angle. Away from Del Giorno. He's being grabbed and out of bounds. Brian Del Giorno finally
saved him.
gets Pedro. He saved the touchdown. But Glenn Pedro, that time around the sides in the first half, his 69-yard touchdown run was right up the middle, but that time it was around the side, and luckily Del Giorno had the shirt of Glenn Pedro, and that'll be a first down, obviously. There you take a look at it. The angling around the left side, as he could not get anything on the right side on the previous play, and the tackle-saving play by Brian Del Giorno, who just made the tackle on the other side on the previous play. So now it's a first down and 10 at the 19-yard line of Port Richmond Red Raiders with 5:08 remaining, and the Falcons lead it 16-6. They'll go from the I. Pedro and Scooter Abbott. Two receivers to the left, Sullivan. And it's Chris Fidali in there. And now we have a stoppage.
Whistle on something.
Referee talking to Angelo Cordova. Referee Dick Stanley. Now they're ready. First down and 10 from the 19. Pitch to Scooter Abbott around the right side this time. Jumps over one tackle. He's still on his feet. Now he's brought down. Pickup of about 4. Take a look at Scooter Abbott this time as the Falcons run right, left, and now back to the right side again as Abbott jumping over a tackle, and he's brought down, led there by number 58, Pete Rosamando. Second down at about 5. 4:25 remaining. Falcons lead at 16-6, and with this good drive here, the Falcons keeping the ball away from the offense of Port Richmond for killing any attempts for them to come back. Trailing by 10. Go from the pro set. Two receivers to the left. In motion now is Sullivan. And now a whistle. Some confusion now.
Unless it's the 4 minutes.
Could be it's the 4-minute warning. 4-minute warning by Dick Stanley is the call.
You never know with Mike playing quarterback. He gets down to about the last 2 seconds before the time runs out before he calls his play.
So we have 2-minute warnings in the NFL and high school PSAL league. We have the 4-minute warning. Gives us a chance to thank both schools for their help in Staten Island Cable's preparation for this game. Coach Al Paterzo of the Susan Wagner Falcons and Coach Joe George of the Port Richmond Red Raiders. It'll be second down and 5 when play resumes. Ball at the 11-yard line of Port Richmond. They'll go from the I formation. Two receivers to the left, Menachino and Sullivan. Now they go switch it off to the pro set. Perhaps Toronto audibilizing here. Sullivan in motion. The handoff goes to Pedro up the middle. And he's going to pick up a first down. And it'll be first and goal for the Susan Wagner Falcons at about the 5-yard line. Just a reminder, this cablecast of Staten Island High School football is presented solely for the entertainment of our audience. Any rebroadcast, retransmission, or any other form of reproduction without the express written consent of Staten Island Cable is prohibited. 3:32 and counting. And the Falcons are on their way to getting an automatic PSAL berth. Leading at 16-6. First down and goal. They have the ball at the 5-yard line of Port Richmond. So a brief spurt with the Brian Del Giorno 80-yard pass, but that's been it so far for the offense of the Red Raiders here today. Handoff to Pedro up the middle. Perhaps a gain of 2. Now he's in. He's over.
Touchdown.
And Pedro is in as the referee Dick Stanley signals. And that should all but wrap it up officially with 3:06 remaining. It's now a 22-6 Falcon lead. Take a look at the Pedro run right up the middle. Just couldn't be held back. And the offensive line doing the job there. And now the 2-point conversion for Coach Al Paterzo's Falcons. So the Falcons have scored in every quarter. 8 points in the first, 2 in the second, 6 in the third, and now a touchdown here in the fourth. As they'll go for the 2-point conversion. Toronto back to pass in the end zone. It is complete.
Kenny Sparry.
Kenny Sparry for the 2-point conversion. And it's a 24-6 Susan Wagner lead. They're averaging 32 points, but tough defense here. There was a flag on the play, however. Averaging 32 points per game is Susan Wagner, but for Richmond's tough defense is, even though losing, held them to 24. So Pedro now picks up his second touchdown. The other a 69-yard run back in the first quarter. Scooter Abbott, the other touchdown run, around a 6-yarder.
Gonna do that.
So that 2-point conversion, that penalty was
over.
on the Falcons, so it's not 24-6 yet. It's still 22-6. That last play, a penalty on the Falcons. Toronto this time rolls to the left side. Man in the end zone is intended for Menachino, but it's intercepted by Jason Gold. So the conversion fails, and the score is now 22-6. Continuing here with the history of Susan Wagner. Mentioned their first victory in 74 and 75, mostly underclassmen. Falcons with a 3-4 record, but great potential according to Coach Joe Ryan. He felt his team had, and it was proven in the next 2 years, in 1976 and 77, as the Falcons won 2 straight Island championships. Coach Ryan felt the main reason that the Falcons even had a team to begin with was that this had school support and the kids had fun and they wanted to play football for the school. 1976, the Falcons lost the city championship to Bayside. The noted player that year, however, who now plays in the NFL, played center here at Susan Wagner, Dennis McKnight, playing for the San Diego Chargers. 1978, 2 straight wins for the Susan Wagner Falcons in the beginning of the season, but then quarterback Jim Kilty broke his ankle, and the team didn't win again until Thanksgiving Day of that year against Port Richmond, I might add. 3:06 remaining here in this fourth quarter, and the Falcons will kick off to the Red Raiders, leading it 22-6. Brian Del Giorno, Angelo Cordova, and Vincent Mazzi will receive the kick from, he was kicking this time. We saw Frank Menachino last time, and that's who it is again, I believe. It is Menachino, a low squib kick. It's fielded by, I believe, number 42, Josh Siegel. Picks it up, does the best he can, and stopped at about the 35-yard line. 3 minutes unofficially remaining. The Red Raiders will operate first down and 10. 1979 through 1981, Falcons struggled a bit. They had a 3-7 record in 79, a 4-6 record in 80. In 81 had a 5-4 record. Then in 82, their best year ever as far as the regular season wins were concerned. Had a record of 9-1 in 1982. They lost the PSAL title game to John Adams 24-8. A lot of players, however, that year went on to play in college for the Falcons. First down and 10. As Pearlstein is in there, the lone setback as Mirasola back to pass. He's being pressured. Runs up and does an excellent run across the 50. He'll pick up a first down.
Play.
Steve Mirasola finding no one open, showing his running ability.
Mirasola keeps it for a gain
And
of 16
gain of
yards.
16 yards will be first and 10 at midfield. 2:50 remaining as no huddle here for head coach Joe George, Port Richmond Red Raiders. Pearlstein the lone setback. They operate in a shotgun as Mirasola angling right side. He finds no one open, keeps it again, and he should get out of bounds if he can, and he does. Stopping the clock with 2:34 remaining. 1983, the Falcons shared the Island Championship with Newdorf with a record of 6-3-1. After that year, Coach Joe Ryan resigned, and Al Paterzo, a new coach in 1984, 4-6 record. In his first year in 85, had a 5-4 record. Then the best year under Coach Al Paterzo just 2 years ago in 1986, a 9-2-1 record, and defeated Andrew Jackson of Queens 14-8 for the PSAL title for the Susan Wagner Falcons. Last year they lost the last game of that season in 86. After the title game, they lost to Farrell in the Metro Bowl 34-8. As Mirasola back to pass. Pass is intended for Brody. Nice defensive play by number 12 of the Falcons, Andrew Carrera. Defensive back 5'10", 150.
Mirasola's pass is incomplete.
Pass incomplete will stop the clock. Second down and 10. Let's take a look at this play by Carrera. As Mirasola in the shotgun, has time back there. Terrence Brody was the intended receiver, but Carrara just got his hands on it. Good play by the junior. 2:09 unofficially remaining. As the ball is on the snap, lost by Mirasol. He falls on it, and that'll keep the clock running. Mistake there or trouble on the snap anyway. Finally, as far as completing Susan Wagner's history, last year in 1987, the 8-0 on-field record. And brings us to this year, where the Susan Wagner Falcons' winning streak will remain intact, dating back to last year. If they hang on to this game, which is just about over, leading at 22-6, they will have won 16 straight ball games. Penalty on the Red Raiders declined by the Falcons. It's fourth down and 16. Pearlstein, the lone setback. Corrected, is not Pearlstein. He is out of the game. Mirasolar pass to Del Giorno on the far sidelines. It was Christian Lamas, the lone setback. The last time I looked at Christian Lamas, it was the Del Giorno 80-yard touchdown run. Well, a touchdown pass from Steve Mirasola. At times, Del Giorno got it again, but just on the sidelines, and not enough for a first down, I believe. Now it's fourth down. Okay, now it's fourth down. Now it's 4th and 7. Previous play, a third down play. Angelo Cordova in. 2 receivers to the right, 2 to the left. Lone setback is Christian Lamas. 1:26 unofficially remaining, fourth quarter. 22-6 lead for the Falcons. Mirasola back to pass. He's being pressured, steps away. Still has the ball, and now he runs out of bounds.
First down.
He picks up the first down.
Stop the clock.
What smartness and quickness and athletic ability shown there by Steve Mirasola. Looking right, left, couldn't find anyone. Being pressured. He is short. Okay, now officially Dick Shinley says he's short. Still in all, even though he didn't get it. An excellent drive by Steve Mirasola. Having the wherewithal to know exactly what had to be done, but just fell short. And now the Falcons will take over on downs, leading at 22-6. They'll up their record now to 8-0 on Staten Island. 8-0 overall, sorry. 4-0 on Staten Island. Red Raiders will drop to 5-3 overall and 2-1 on Staten Island. Susan Wagner has defeated Tottenville, New Dorp, and Curtis, now Port Richmond. Red Raiders on Staten Island defeated New Dorp and Tottenville. Port Richmond 5-3 overall, 2-1 on Staten Island. Susan Wagner 8-0 overall and 3-1 on Staten Island. And this win will give them the automatic PSAL playoff berth, as they will win the Island Championship here in 1988. Port Richmond has to hope that Clinton can beat August Martin next week, as Toronto will just down the ball. As Joe George's team will be playing next week at home versus Tottenville, hoping that his team can get in as a wild card berth. Next week, the Susan Wagner Falcons will be playing against Lehman at DeWitt Clinton High School. And our next game here on Staten Island Cable at New Dorp High School versus New Dorp versus the Curtis Warriors. Take another look at Coach Joe Avena's New Dorp team. And we'll also take a look at Curtis's runner, Jamal Murph. He's the number 2 rusher on Staten Island. Going into the game Saturday, he had 121 rushes for 683. Check that, 683 yards, 121 rushes.
That's it.
And that's officially going to end it.
That's it.
The champions of Staten Island, the PSAL champions, Susan Wagner Falcons. As the cheerleaders throw their pom-poms in the air, the crowd on the Susan Wagner side extremely happy. The Falcons are the champions of Staten Island for 1988. The final score, the Susan Wagner Falcons 22 and the Port Richmond Red Raiders 6. You're watching the Staten Island High School Football Game of the Week on Staten Island Cable.
Cable America, TV.